Welcome to part 2 of Developing a Fulbright Project webinar. I'm Jenny Sullivan. I'm the Assistant Director of the Study Abroad and Fellowships Office and the main Fulbright advisor here on campus at RIT. In the first part of this webinar series, I took you through a framework for helping you to decide what sort of project to complete abroad and which country to choose or how to choose a country for your Fulbright project. In this webinar, I'm going to be focusing on the next step in the process, which is really about networking and building your own personal board of directors. In this webinar, when I did it in person, I had Wendy Way from the Wallace Center, a librarian, come to talk about some resources that you could use to help develop your project idea. She's not here today when I'm recording this, but I recommend that you reach out to your academic librarian at the Wallace Center and make an appointment with them so they can walk you through some of the resources that the Wallace Center has at your disposal to help you develop your project. I am going to talk about building a personal board of directors and what that is and what that means. We're going to talk about what sort of information are you seeking and how that relates to your affiliation. I'm going to skip this part about Wendy since she's not here. So a personal board of directors is something that I encourage all students to create for themselves. And it's basically a personal advisory board of mentors, friends, and professionals invested in your success who can provide advice, guidance, and insight into your Fulbright project and beyond. This is something that's beneficial for you, not just for your Fulbright, but for graduate school applications, for your job search, etc. So, who should be on your personal board of directors? Well, you should start with people whom you already know. So these could be professors and should be professors, parents. Your parents have a lot of connections that you might not even know of that could be very beneficial to you. Past job or internship or co-op supervisors, your academic advisors, coaches, relatives and friends of the family, and other people you know from organizations like church or a hobby that you're interested in or organization that you're interested in. And in addition to reaching out to people you already know, you should work diligently and intentionally to build new relationships with people you don't know, but who might have knowledge and expertise that could really benefit you. Professionals in your field, maybe professors in your field but at other local universities would be a good place to start. Career coaches, if you haven't been to the Co-op and Career Services office on campus, you should definitely meet with them. Like we said, professors at other universities, alumni from RIT, and community and cultural groups. What do you want to know from these people? Well, specific info related to your project, such as trends in the field, maybe the latest research. They can help you understand resources for your discipline or organizations that you should join. They might have insight about who some of the key players are or key locations. They might know or understand some of the major challenges in your field, so things that you would want to think about and consider for your project. They might give you some insight into the context of your challenge or the environment that you would be joining or working in. They might have other connections or people for you to reach out to that would help you with your project or be an affiliate. And they might be able to provide some practical advice on your application, review your essays, etc. You might also want to know from these people some cultural specific information. So you might want to know information about the location. What's it like to live in this particular city or rural area? Travel and living logistics. What's the cost of living? What's the best way to get around? Some of that insider information that's difficult to get from travel books. You might want to understand. They might help you understand some customs and traditions to help you settle in quicker and adapt better. They might give you some specific info about language, or they might also connect you with people overseas. And from these mentors, you might also learn about or get insight about making major life decisions and how the Fulbright fits into that. Would they encourage you to get more education? Would they have some suggestions for graduate schools that you should attend or look into? Would they have insight about doing a research project in the Fulbright versus getting a job, and other insider ideas about your long-term goals? So how do you build a board of directors? Well, you need to work on building an intentional relationship. You want to build an intentional and authentic relationship with these people. So how do you do this? One thing that you can do is make sure to meet on their terms. So make it easy for them to help you. So meet during their office hours when they've already set an established time for meeting with students, or take them out to coffee. If you know they live in your neighborhood, offer to drive them to work on their way in and have a conversation. If they like to jog, offer to go for a run with them. Make it easy for them. Number two, follow through on their advice. You don't have to agree with their advice, but you have to at least look into it and consider it. If you don't do this, you're either you might be perceived as sort of a flake, somebody who is not really very self-motivated, and that would make them feel like they're wasting their time. You need to, in this relationship, take the lead, be prepared and proactive, because ultimately this is about what you're going to gain, not what they're going to gain. So they're not going to be motivated to continue meeting with you and giving you advice. You've got the most to gain from this experience. So be proactive in scheduling appointments with them, and be prepared when you come to those appointments. Don't come to them and say something like, "What should I do with my life?" Say, "These are some of the options I'm considering, and here's why I'm considering them. Here's the pros and cons. Do you have any insight that could help me make these decisions?" Or, "What do you think about this or that?" Be willing to learn and comfortable in what you don't know. You need to strike a balance between sounding too green and immature. If you come in saying, "I'm a sponge, I want to learn everything from you, I'll do whatever you say," because that sounds quite immature. And on the other end of the spectrum, saying, "This is what I want to do, I know exactly what I want to do, and I just basically need validation that I'm doing the right thing." That's not the way to be either. You need to be flexible and willing to be open-minded to learning other ideas. And then give back if you can. Find ways to give back. If you know that they're working on a certain project, offer to assist them. If you know they have a certain area of expertise and interest and you come across a journal article that you think they would be interested in, send it to them. Refer them in your circles. If you know of somebody who might nominate them for an award, or if you know of somebody who's looking for an expert in their area, pass on their name. You can do little things too that are giving back. Something as simple as, if you know they need a babysitter and your little sister is available, giving them that name. How do you not build a relationship? By not being prepared, by making it difficult for them. Those are some things that are not going to build that relationship. So this is the end of my presentation. I really encourage you to think intentionally about building those relationships, and watch for another webinar in the next couple of weeks specifically about reaching out to people you don't know to try to gain an affiliate overseas. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please email me. This is Jenny Sullivan, JENNY.Sullivan@RIT.edu.